So obviously that comes to the point where I sort of met Riaz, really. What was quite interesting about the way we met is that, I don't know whether you can picture the scene. Nick tried to encapsulate it, but I'd met people for lunch. And actually, I had been out the night before, and I was quite hungover. And we basically decided to have pizza down by St Catherine's Dock. There was a few people on the stage. We roared quite aggressively, actually, into a number of very fine ales. A number of people were shopping during the afternoon, and they sort of met up in the evening, and my drinking continued, and theirs started, and they had a really good time. And so we then had dinner, and at 10 o'clock everyone was quite drunk and went home. But I thought, well, the night is just young. So, here I am, a single man in London. Where else is there to go? So obviously I poodle into town and meet Mr. Raj Merchandani, who at the time was sitting in a bar with one or two of his friends having a schnifter. Long story short...
Non-alcoholic, I'm sure.
Almost certainly. Long story short, we found our way after 3 clubs into what can only be described as the ghetto. So well done those of you who got that correct on here. In the ghetto Riaz was in familiar state. So he was slightly sweaty, kind of dancing really quite aggressively to almost anything that was getting played. Particularly in Kylie came anywhere near the speakers. In a very cool way. And I sort of saw him and I thought, this is the person that I really need to speak to, but unfortunately... I wasn't going to mention you was talking to someone else.
Well played, Hatton, well played.
That's not true. So anyway, that didn't last long. He then, when he met me, he described the next morning about how he met me. He said to me, well, you know, I met you and you seem to be a non-smoking, which I was quite heavily militant at the time, sober. I was thinking, this is the one. Come on in. And apparently quite a good boy, and that's literally his first impressions. The impressions I got of him obviously was that massive smile, and also questions within about 3 seconds about what star sign I was. And at the point when I said leave, where there was this, oh my god, this is a perfect match! Which university do you go to? Bristol. Oh my god! Extra hopes we had, and really that was the way we met. What was sensational for me though it was about the lightning bolt, and I've said to many people that I've always thought that for me it's about the lightning bolt. I need to have that lightning bolt happen to me, and then I need to feel it happen every single day, every single time I see that person. And that's what happens for me with Riaz. There's been many words said about Riaz today, and they're all very kind, and I think my vows kind of encapsulate the promises I want to make to him. But there are a few things that, as you know, lots of people know you for this incredibly gregarious person who smiles relentlessly, despite what might or might not be going on in your own life, who asks questions about people's top 5 favourite bands and holidays and what are your jobs if you weren't doing a Starbucks job or something, and you just have this kind of conversation that engages everybody. But actually, the bit I get isn't just that, obviously. I get the close the door, you know, turn the world off, and there's just you and me in a room. And what happens, well, I won't go into all of that. But actually, what happens for me is... What happens for me is I kind of recharge, I kind of feel kind of new energy, I feel loved, I get suddenly secure if I was feeling insecure, I feel safe if I was thinking, what the hell did I do today? And this has all gone to shit, or something's gone, whatever it might have been. I feel this kind of sense of happiness that suddenly everything else is irrelevant. It didn't really matter what was going on anyway. That the world just doesn't really matter. And I think that's because you're so selfless. And actually, in many ways, he hasn't described himself as not being like that. But he really just, in his life, everything goes on pause, and it's about you. And the bit I get is it's about you, James, and what can I do for you, and let me put my arms around you, and let me make you feel loved. And that's the thing which gives me the lightning bolt every single day. So I just wanted to kind of share with you sort of a private memory. That's outside of the Klim. Those, what are they called, chicken sausages? They come in tins, pretty bad. And all the other little things that Riaz likes to do at home. They don't include parsnips. So I guess just to sort of finish off, there are one or two little things that will happen later on tonight. In about 40 minutes ago, Henry and Tanya will crank on the decks. I suggested in approximately 5 minutes' time, Riaz and I make sure we're in the middle of that little dance floor there. If you'd like to sort of wrap yourselves around us, that would be welcome. There is now the glitter booth, which has been on for 40 minutes. I'd love you all to pop in there, take some photos, keep a set, pop a set in the book and sign away. Write some comments, whatever it is you want to do. More swear words the better, in my view, but that's a personal preference. And then maybe later on tonight I will be suggesting One for the Road. And One for the Road will take place at 12:01, and it will be in the bar in the Old Bell, and I plan to be there helping you all to have one of those. Maybe even a Terry Darling, which I've just been thinking about. It's Cointreau and champagne. On that note, a toast, but actually to everybody here, please. We love you all very deeply. To you.